For guests joining us online, we recommend you view today's meeting using the speaker view located in the upper right corner of the screen. If you have comments or want to ask a question, please use the chat box. And now, please stand and welcome President Dudley and the 2021-2022 Board of Directors.
Linda. Welcome, everyone. I'm very pleased to invite you to join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, if you would like to. Yeah. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the United States, one nation under God, indivisible.
We got to do something with your email.
Did you hear the thought of the day? Hello?
No, not those of us online.
Do you want me to repeat the thought of the day? Can anyone hear me?
Yes.
Yes, why don't you?
The thought for the day, there are two quotes. The first is by Nelson Mandela. What counts in life is not the mere fact that we have lived. It is what difference we have made to the lives of others. The second, it's by Mother Teresa, now Saint Teresa. Not all of us can do great things, but we can do small things with great love. Thank you. Did you all hear that?
Yes. Now we can't hear Linda.
Request for the folks that are online, that there's a lot of background noise. So if people can, during the presentation, try to refrain from chatting amongst yourselves, I think that will help them. All right, so it's also our custom to begin our gatherings by reciting our vision statement. I invite you to join me in reciting our vision statement, which hopefully we've got on the screen. Together, we see a world where people unite and take action to create lasting change across the globe, in our communities, and in ourselves. We have some special guests of President Dudley's with us today that Dudley will introduce in a few minutes. We are pleased to have him joining us today, as well as any other guests here and busy Rotarians either here or online. Before I invite Dudley to take over the microphone, I'd like to share a little bit about him so that you can get to know Dudley better. Dudley was born in Belmont, Iowa, to Richard and Margaret Thompson. Margaret, Dudley's mother, was a home economics teacher prior to joining the family business. Dudley's dad, Richard, became interested in hybrid corn breeding when he attended Iowa State University during the Depression. He was unable to finish his degree and moved back to the farm, where he started with a small supply of corn kernels and planted them in a corner acre. The company became successful, and Richard was considered a pioneer of the hybrid seed corn industry. The company, Thompson Hybrid Corn Company, later named ACCO, was the largest employer of high school and college youth in the summer, where the youth detasseled corn. One year, the company used unpaid child labor for their annual advertising campaign, using an image of Dudley and Jeannie Clark, the daughter of the vice president of the company. They were featured on calendars and billboards throughout Belmont is a small agricultural community in northern Iowa, population 2,500, where the farming industry is based on corn, soybeans, and hops. After Dudley left, it became a center for egg production, as well as attracting an Eaton Corporation plant that manufactures engine valves. Belmont's claim to fame came in 1966 when Dudley was a freshman in high school. On homecoming day, a tornado hit Belmont, devastating over half of the town. If you look at that bottom picture of Dudley's home, and Dudley is standing in front of us. It was a town with strong faith communities and service clubs, from the Lions to the JCs to a volunteer fire department and ambulance team. Almost everyone in the community was a volunteer in some way, including Dudley and his high school buddies who helped transport injured folks. The community still benefits from this value of service and philanthropy. Dudley's childhood could be described as that of an idyllic middle American youth. Graduating from Belmont High, can you find him? Where he was active in student government, thespians, golf, and bowling, for which he was the all-events city bowling champion. And he still carries his bowling ball in his car. After high school, Dudley left Belmont to attend Drake University in Des Moines, where he graduated with a BA in Economics and Business Administration, a member of Sigma Phi Epsilon fraternity. Dudley was active in student publications, beginning as a newspaper deliverer. He rose to become the business manager of student publications, where he was the highest salaried student on campus. There he is. After college, he landed an internship in New York City with the World Issues Office of the United Church of Christ, where he met and worked with Reverend Dr. Howard Schomer. Dudley's relationship and work with Dr. Schomer made Dudley realize the importance of academics and how to achieve socially just changes, both locally and in the world. Dudley testified before the United Nations on the role of the 7-company exportation of coal from South Africa, and was assigned to staff a blue ribbon working group that included the chairman of General Electric, the chief economist of Mexico, and Congressman Andrew Young. Pretty impressive for a young man who's out of college. Returning to Belmont after completing his internship, he worked at and then owned Four Seasons Cabinetry, a small custom woodworking manufacturing company specializing on custom kitchen cabinets. There he met his wife, Gail. Soon she was diagnosed with ALS, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, a disease that has an average survival rate of 3 to 5 years. Gail, however, was an exceptional survivor who lived for 24 years. It was during this period that Dudley was elected to 2 national boards of directors, the United Church Board for World Ministries and the Office for Church and Society, where his interest in theology continued to grow. He also became county chair of the Democratic Party the year of Jimmy Carter's election. Meanwhile, his business, in Dudley's words, failed miserably. He found a buyer of the business who purchased all the assets and kept all the employees. Fortunately, the value of the property increased and he had some money to start again. He and Gail made the decision to move to Berkeley to escape debilitating Iowa winters and exhausting summers, and allowed Dudley to study theology at the Pacific School of Religion. Dudley intended to complete a one-year certificate program, but instead continued on for 3 years to complete a Master of Divinity with emphasis in religion and personality sciences. It was while attending the seminary that Dudley met the president of Satellite Senior Homes. Given the opportunity to use much of the knowledge and skills gained at the seminary and in business, Dudley became the administrator for Lake Park Retirement Residences in Oakland and Fraser Methodist Memorial Home in Alameda. After 7 years in senior care, Dudley decided to again expand his knowledge and completed his MBA in Management and Applied Finance at the University of San Francisco. This led him to become a business broker, where he represented small businesses in the sale and purchase of other businesses. One of his clients was Graphics Land, a large format custom vinyl graphics business that Dudley decided to purchase. Dudley renamed Graphics Land to Transport Graphics and Professional Fleet Graphics, which he has owned for 27 years. We all know about his service to Oakland Rotary, chairing multiple committees, serving on the board of directors, becoming a Paul Harris Fellow Times 4 and ORE Major Donor. But Oakland Rotary isn't the only place where Dudley is active. The past 10 years, he has served as a member of the board of directors and tournament chair of Metropolitan Golf Club, where he organized more than 19 golf tournaments a year and volunteers for the junior golf program. Dudley is also extremely active in his local church, Arlington Community Church United of Christ, where he has served as chair of most of the church committees, including the endowment and the board for mission and social justice. He also served as treasurer of the board of directors of the Northern California Nevada Conference of the United Church of Christ. It was at Arlington Community Church where he met his wife, Concha Delgado Caetano. Dudley was moderator of the church on September 11th, 2001, when the church opened its doors to the community. Concha came that meeting and they began talking, and as Dudley says, they haven't stopped talking since. Concha is a writer, educator, professor at UC Santa Barbara and UC Davis, and has received numerous awards, including the George Spindler Award for Lifetime Achievement in Anthropology and Education. Married in 2003, they live a very full life in Mount Cerrito with their 4 cats. Fellow Rotarians, please join me in welcoming the next president of Oakland Rotary, number 3, Dudley Thompson.
To this one. Past President Linda, fellow Rotarians, and honored guests. Thank you, Linda, for helping me prepare today and the support you continually give me. But most importantly, thank you, Jim, for all you do for our club. It's amazing what you've done before and since your presence. I'd like to begin by introducing the officers of our club that joined me when we walked in this morning. I'd also like to introduce the board of directors and the Oakland Endowment trustees. Please stand when I mention your name, and if you're online, you're welcome to stand at home as well. And please hold your applause until I finish. For the Rotary Club of Oakland, your officers this year are President-elect Mary Jiang. I know Mary is here. Secretary Michael Brock, Treasurer Lorna Padilla Marcus, by office, Vice President Seth Butner, and by election or appointment, both the Rotary Club Board of Directors as well as the endowment are broken into 3 classes. So for the Rotary Club of Oakland, the class that has 1 more year, the class of 23 would be Steve Nichols, Debo Sarkar, and Jason Wiseman. Class of 24 with 2 more years to serve are Steve Clare, Ellison Bliss, Gary Flaxman, and Joyce Mack. One more. And the class of 24 that is just beginning to serve and will have 3 years of service are Kim Cohn, and Kim is here, Will Hobbs is here, and Vania Webb. Please welcome your. The Oakland Rotary Endowment, there are also 3 classes with 1 year left to serve. The class of 22 is Ahmad Anderson, Keith Jerome, Harold Lowe, and Linda Chu. The class of 23 with 2 years left is Leanne Alameda, Kathleen Sims, and Christine Watson. And the class of 24, just beginning with 3 years to serve, are Ruth Straub, Ken Benson, CJ Hirschfield, and Kim Johnson. By office, one moment by office, also President-elect Mary Jiang, Seth Butner, and I serve, and the endowment trustees select their own officers, and the officers this year will be President Leanne Alameda, Vice President Ahmad Anderson, Secretary Keith Jerome, and Treasurer Harold Lowe. Would you please thank them? Also want to call to your attention, Jesse, are you in the room or are you back in there? You are, Jesse. I want to call your attention to Jesse Bauer. Jesse began as our executive administrator last December when Pat Williams retired, but because we've been online, many of you have not met him in person. Please introduce yourself to Jesse. Jesse should be your best friend in this club, and if you have any questions, and I'm sure he'll take any, although he doesn't have answers for every, but he'll find a way to deal with them. So please welcome Jesse Bauer. So we didn't have guest introductions today of guests, but there are a few people that I've invited to join us. I'd like to start with a few online that you may not be able to see. I'm not sure if you can get those. The first is Doug and Fonda Thompson. Doug and Fonda, I know we're online. I grew up with Doug. We grew up across the street from each other. We've been competitors because he's the Danish EN and I'm the Norwegian ON. We competed with that all of our lives. And although I'm going to tell some stories, and Linda gave some, the president gets to choose what stories are told today. So no better stories than are being shared. But, and I'm not going to tell the one, I guess I will, Doug, because you'll tell it just as soon as I know. So the first sleepover I ever had was at Doug's house. And about, I don't know, 10 o'clock at night, I started crying. I said, I want my mother. And I was sitting home back across the street. You were 19? I was 19. I have a better story about that when he was 19. The next group, there's a few folks, but I'll call the Drake guys. I know a few are on today. And I want to thank them particularly, not only for coming, but some of these guys got together and did one of the sponsorships at our gala this year. So if you saw the Drake guys there, a few of those guys are online today. But there are a couple I do want to note because of their Rotary relationship. I'm not sure if Jerry Lawton is on, but Jerry was a member of the Champaign, Illinois Club for 27 years. And I hope I get this right, Chris, because I left my notes in the office. But Chris Boland, I know is online. Chris is a member of Kansas City 13. Actually, not only was he a member, his father and his grandfather were members. That family's been members of the club for over 80 years. And Chris is also certain, as I know, Jesse and Karen Friedman are certified Kansas City Barbecue Association judges. And I do know that Chris was in the Rotary magazine about 4 years ago because he won one of the championships. All-around championships for barbecue in Kansas City. So Chris and I share absolutely no politics together. I have no idea why we're still friends and so here today, I'd first like to introduce Cindy P. Alvarez. Cindy, would you please stand up? Cindy and my wife, Concha, were two of the three amigos. They both attended Stanford together and did their PhDs together and have remained almost lifelong friends since that time. Cindy and her husband, Sandy, were the first people I got together with when I got together with Concha. Linda Young is here. Linda is, again, probably a 20, 25-year friend. Linda is the moderator of lectures this year in the last 2 or 3 years. But Linda's husband, Jim Young, who sadly died about 5 years ago, was the president of the Richmond Club, and I was able to attend both his inauguration and his promotion. And if anybody remembers those little cocktail presentations I gave, Jim invited me to do one of those at his club. Actually, I think we both were talking. I think we both still have some cocktails left over. Judy Holliday is here. Judy is a good friend who I attended a birthday party about, and I don't think John is there. I attended a birthday party for John Notch about
2013.
2013. Thank you. This is Becky. We'll get to her. And I sat across from Becky and her husband at this birthday party. And Becky talked herself into a job with me. And so now it's your turn, Becky. Please stand up. Becky is my assistant, has worked for me since 2013. And we're a small business and she just makes life decent for me every day. So Becky, thank you for being with us. And finally, not last, is George Hopkins. George and I have worked together for now over 27 years. He actually started with my business actually a couple of months before I came, and has been with me. And I'm going to say for a second, then George stood up with us when Coach and I were married, and they never say employees, they will never say employees love their employer, but I will say I love Becky, and George. Thank you for all you do for me. Two more thank yous, and then we'll get into this. I'm going to keep it till 2 or 3. So I want to recognize Peter Sherris and Seth Butler. Peter, when you started your year as president, we had no idea what was in front of us. There's always challenges. I think every president faces those. Yours were enormous. Only because of Peter's knowledge and his wisdom as a medical doctor and a master of public health. Those were so important to our club as we entered into the pandemic, but also his interest in video technology. If you recall, Peter got us live streaming these meetings well before the pandemic, and so the transition, although a little rocky, was so much easier, and we were way ahead of all the other clubs of staying online when the pandemic hit. Peter, thank you so much. Of course, Seth Butler, yeah. Seth led us with not only his charm, his humor, his generosity. He led us through the difficult times of cultural divide. He presented an outstanding speakers for us on Civic Thursdays. He initiated a committee to address diversity, equity, and inclusion. He represented us in the First Five Collaborative, which developed into the hygiene kit distribution for the homeless. He helped develop the Embrace mural that's down at Jack London Square that we revealed last month. And finally, and his initiative to address housing insecurity in Oakland. And finally, he just had a record fundraising year for us. Led by his generosity, but also he encouraged each one of us to contribute to the Rotary Foundation and Endowment. We're really indebted to you this past year. So this year, our theme is the Rotary International theme by Shekhar meant serve to change lives. And I was going to put a thing on a chair up here. Let's do this today. Oh, okay. I didn't introduce coaching. In like 3 weeks. Concha and I have been together since, as Linda said, we've known each other a little bit longer, but we've been together since September 11th, 2001. We call that our anniversary. Yeah, I can tell the whole story here, and she tells it better than I am, so talk about her. But the best story I have to appreciate Concha was very early on. We attended an American Anthropological Association meeting in San Francisco, and in the evening they had a concert. Actually, one of the people in her association has a rock band, so at the Bill Graham Auditorium they read it that night. So I was standing with some people I didn't know, they didn't know me. And somehow her name came. And somehow I said something about Concha, and they go, "Oh, you know Concha?" I said, "Yes, I do." Anyway, Concha is I didn't ask her to bring the children today, but as I say, it's a little bit like herding cats. So 4 of them didn't join us, but thank you for coming today, Concha. I was very influenced by Viktor Frankl, who many of you know his writing of Man's Search for Meaning. The book begins with his experience in German concentration camps, where most of his family was murdered, and about how he believed that he survived mentally during this time. His premise is that people have free will, and one's attitude in any situation is what you have the power to control. Your attitude is what you have the power to control. He describes 3 ways of realizing meaning in life. 1, by making a difference in the world. Secondly, by having experiences. Thirdly, by adopting particular attitudes. In a later book, he explores the maxim, live as if you were living for a second time. I recently came across another book called Redirect by Timothy Wilson of the University. He's a psychologist at the University of Virginia. The book is Redirect. He writes, our stories are what we live by. Our lives are the stories that we live by. We are really a bunch of stories. If you construct a story and you tell yourself enough and repeat it enough times, you become that story. And these stories determine your behavior. And we were able to redirect or revise or edit our stories. I say this because we're coming out of a time of shared history of disruption of our lives. And we're now creating this new normal. We're working through what that will mean to each of us. Many of us want to go back to the way it was before COVID, but for all of us, it's going to be different. It is a time to write that new narrative for our lives. Write new stories that define you. For whatever reason, you asked me to lead the club this year. I'm honored for this, and I am honored for your trust, and I accept this role. And I do so happily. I really look forward to this. On one hand, I do take it seriously, but I'm going to say I don't take it somberly. I want to be a good club president. I see the Rotary Club of Oakland as the city's most important service organization and booster club. And I believe that we, all of us, belong to a larger organization with a mission to change the world for good. And to have some fun along the way, too. And so I'd like to take the rest of this meeting to present my goals, or some goals I hope to achieve this year. There are 3 areas I'm going to describe. One is bringing the club back together in person and healing relationships after a period of separation. The second is reminding us that Rotary, this organization to which we belong, is the best service organization in the world. And thirdly, I'm going to convince you to become more fully engaged in inviting others to join us in this mission. These goals are influenced by the work of our strategic planning task force last year. The committee was mindful of the club's commitment to welcoming members and guests and create a place that you feel respected, valued, and that you belong. We are very aware of the issues that especially came to light last summer after the murder of George Floyd and the culturally divisive presidential election process. Rotary International has affirmed the organizational commitment to diversity, and President Sess initiated the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee to affirm our commitment to help us better understand how we treat each other with dignity and respect and have equal opportunities for fellowship and service. During the Rotary International Convention last month, one of the International DE&I committee members stated, Rotary has been successful eradicating polio. It should now be our goal to eradicate the isms. For almost a year and a half, we have had the shared experience of living through a pandemic called the novel coronavirus 19. Beginning this spring, vaccines are available which protect us from the virus and allow us to socially interact and open up the economy. But if there's any lesson to be learned, nature does not read policies, nature doesn't understand protocols, nor does nature appreciate our desire to hug our loved ones. We may respect nature, but it does not understand the meaning of respecting us. We are meeting together today, but the pandemic is not over. It is our plan to be cautious and make sure members feel safe, and that as we reopen the club for projects and activities, we are creating our Rotary story. A couple months ago, Mary and Jesse and I attended a program on rolling out the reopening, the right way to the new normal. It was presented by the San Francisco Foundation. Anna Marie Jones, our own Anna Marie Jones, was the keynote speaker, and I asked her if she would open up our Rotary Club year with her thoughts. I asked her to speak with us about how we approach the reopening in a way that when we look back, we can say, we did it right. Anna Marie, please come up. The Chief Resiliency Officer for Interpro and our club's passion. You know, I'm a passionate maven for preparedness. She has worked on many national and local initiatives on all aspects of disaster and public health emergency management. She was inducted into the Women in Emergency Management Homeland Security Hall of Fame for her innovations with engaging diverse communities. She's a popular keynote speaker and organizational facilitator. Your friends at Rotary welcome you.
Thank you so much, President. And what a fabulous thing it is to see all of these incredibly beautiful Rotarian faces in person. I'm particularly honored to be part of President Dudley's team to help shape and craft and embrace our Rotary story on how we and the communities we serve are all going to flourish during this time of reopening. Many of you know that I'm passionate about preparedness, but not because I believe that we can prepare for every disaster and every crisis, but because I believe we can absolutely prepare to be our best selves whenever we have to face whatever it is we are going to face. And I believe that the Rotary Club of Oakland can rise to any challenge. Would you agree with this?
Yeah.
Now, all of you who didn't respond, really step up. It's important to remember that we are already incredibly well tooled to be brilliant in the face of the reopening. Number one, we know the power of community. We already know that vaccines save lives, and that it's a marathon and certainly not a sprint. We personally understand the trauma of COVID because so early in this process, we lost our own jobs. We've already embraced having hybrid meetings, so our community can actually participate safely from anywhere in the world, which I think is also a fabulous opportunity for us to have people who love Oakland, no matter where they are in the world, they can love us online now. We also know that our beautiful city of Oakland is already contending with big issues, and many people are tired of masks and mandates and social distancing, and they want to be done with COVID, but we know that COVID isn't done with us. We know that if a variant breaks through our vaccine barrier, that we can be sent back to square one. And we are Rotarians, and we are not going to let that happen in our community. We know that we're going to hear some conflicting messages, right? Whether it's about the masks or the vaccines or whatever, but we're Rotarians. We know how to rise above politics, yes?
Yeah.
Excellent. No, John, President. And I'd like you to think of it that we are not erring on the side of caution with all of the things we are putting in place. We are caring on the side of caution. Whatever happens, remember that who we are people who care for each other, and we are going to protect each other and protect our community. We also don't default to the standards of others. While we are incredibly respectful, somebody could have said take them out. While we're going to be incredibly respectful of whatever the CDC comes out with and any other health-related guidelines, we don't default to other people's standards. We have our four-way test. We have our mission statement. We have our commitment to each other, and that's what's going to help us navigate in the days ahead. Some of the things that we can all embrace in the days ahead: one, speak up, ask questions, and share your thoughts. We want every single person to feel safe, at any Rotary gathering. I mean, absolutely everyone safe at every single Rotary gathering. Who do we want to feel safe? Absolutely everyone. Whether long-time Rotarian, first-time visitor, random person who walks through the door, this is a safe space for them. It is safe from everything that we can possibly help to make it safe. We want you to pay special attention to a couple of things. And one of them would be to pay special attention to any message we send out related to COVID and our protocols and behaviors. And certainly come prepared to be your personal best. Help us prove that this can work. For me, I carry my vaccination card as a digital image on my phone. I'm always with mask. I always have hand sanitizer and whistle. Hand sanitizer for obvious reasons, and whistle because I will not hesitate to use it if somebody should come in and try to breach our safety barrier for our community. Really, I will use it and you will know that somebody has breached our barrier. Also, please, be grounded in generosity and grace. Some decisions won't be popular. Things could change so quickly that it doesn't give us adequate time for proper notice. Sometimes people may express themselves in less than gracious and generous, eloquent ways, but please hear it with as much generosity and grace as we can muster. We are all trying to do our best, and we will succeed in this. The story I want us to tell, the story I imagine others telling about us, is that people felt safe at every Rotary gathering, that everyone was better able to navigate this with greater ease because Rotarians led the way. And for those of you who have that worst case scenario mindset, and it has to run through your head that what if something terrible happens? I want you to remember that the story could be that the world was shocked that something happens at an Oakland Rotary meeting or an Oakland Rotary event because we had tried so hard, we had given our all, we had done our best. And of course, no matter what happens, we would continue to bring that. And here's what we should all know. Someday it's going to be announced that polio is eradicated. Rotarians everywhere are going to rejoice and know that they had a hand in creating that. But hopefully very soon, we're going to be all talking about who we were during this reopening, how we bonded together, how we kept each other healthy and safe, how we helped other people to do the same. Our story will be that we came together, we experienced ourselves as being our very best. We brought our very best Rotarian selves to the fore for this, and that our community flourished as a result, that we emerged stronger and better. I think that's our Rotary story, and that's the story we should all stick to. I want to thank you, my fellow Rotarians, for being so great and for stepping up and for making this come to pass. I want to thank you, President Dudley, for, one, allowing this to be part of your inauguration and really taking this on as who we are as a club. And in honor of your presidency and brilliant vision for our future, I'd like to ring the bell.
For those of you, Shannon. Thank you, Shannon. Karen, Jason, Will. I knew at some point this was going to happen. Boessenecker, Stroud, Joe Chiang, Yolanda, Bob thank you all. Matt. Okay, everybody, we're just going to build So, for those of you who don't know or are listening today, ringing up the bell is a generous $100 gift to our Oakland Rotary Endowment. Thank you all for that. I was going to spend some time talking about details of reopening I'll just simply say, we're going to go back to a meeting schedule somewhat like we did before, that we will meet every Thursday after the first Thursday. The first Thursday, we're not going to meet in person. Every other Thursday, unless there's some notice, we will meet here, and it will be a hybrid meeting. The first Thursday will be on Zoom, unless it's announced differently. It's possible we could do things like we've done before, meeting in Children's Fairyland or Zoom. And for July, we're going to require vaccinations so that everybody knows that this is, in a sense, a safe space. I encourage you to wear a mask. Peter reminded me this morning, can you be a maven too, Peter? I'm not sure. But that the new variant is not that we're not entirely protected. And so the Delta variant, anyway, I won't go into all those details, but please feel free, always feel free to wear a mask. Don't ever feel that you don't have to. And I know that when we get to our social gatherings, we hug and sometimes don't. But please be conscious, especially in this space, that we're safe. Committees will decide. So online we have bell ringers from Mike Mowry, Teresa, Saverimuthu, Ken Bez. As Seth pointed out, we'll take money anytime we can. There will be a couple points here you'll want to bring me up. So the next thing I'd like to talk about is just Rotary. You belong to an amazing club. As most of us know, the Rotary Club of Oakland was the third club established in the Rotary world, following Chicago and San Francisco. Today, there are over 1.2 million members, over 35,000 clubs in over 200 countries. Our club right now, as of yesterday, has 272 members and is the 25th largest club in the United States. But when we say that, even though we say 300, and sometimes we work on that number, which I'll say more about, the average size club is 33 members, and the most common size Rotary Club is 20 members. So we are a large club. Did you know that the first service project of Rotary was by the first club, Rotary Club of Chicago? And for I know some of my guys out there are in Chicago. It was building public toilets. Originally, Rotary doesn't do everything. Sometimes it seems like we're involved with everything. We have what are called areas of focus. Originally, there were 4, and perhaps the original one was the focus of peace and conflict resolution. In 1945, Rotary was instrumental in founding the United Nations. There were 45 organizations. The United States invited 45 organizations as consultants. Rotary had 3 delegates on that. They were delegates to the Charter for the United Nations. And not only did we have 3 representatives, but Rotarians from other countries of Asia, Africa, North, South America, and Europe were also as part of that charter. Rotary was influential. We also have the highest consultative status for any non-governmental organization at the United Nations Council for Economic and Social. I've heard International President Richard King speak a few times recently. In fact, he spoke to the leadership group last night. For those who don't know, International President Richard King lives in Livermore now, practices law in this area, and our new district governor practiced law with Richard. But it always captures my attention when I hear Richard speak that when he was Rotary International President, he met with 43 heads of state. 28 of those 43 were Rotarians. We belong to an organization that includes 10 former United States presidents, including Wilson, Hoover, Franklin Roosevelt, Truman, Eisenhower, Kennedy, Nixon, Carter, Reagan, and George W. Bush. Even candidate Hillary Rodham Clinton. A few other members of note are that Neil Armstrong, first men on the moon, were Rotarians, Sir Edmund Hillary, Walt Disney, Thomas Edison, Winston Churchill, Margaret Thatcher, Albert Schweitzer, Orville Wright, Ted Turner, Pope Francis, and of course, Seth Butler and Jack Mack. Was carried by Frank Borman, a member of the Houston Space Center Club. I'm not just reciting facts here, but I want you to believe that you're a member of a unique and wonderful organization. Sales guru Zig Ziglar says you have to believe in your product in order to sell it. I want you to believe with total confidence that this is a part of your story, that you believe there's value in being a Rotarian. Our club, through the Carl Stuckey World Community Service Committee, supports 10 global grants, projects of size. That's the maximum allowed in Rotary, along with several cash grants. I'm also asking that committee to make a $3,000 to $5,000 grant this year to the Wheelchair Foundation. It's District Governor Richard Flanders' initiative to deliver containers of wheelchairs to Mexico. There will even be a trip for us and for other people in the district to deliver those wheelchairs to recipients. As of last week, Rotary added a 7th area of focus, protecting the environment. You may recall that the First Five Collaborative planned a joint meeting last April to address this important subject with Rotary International President-elect Shekhar Methus as a speaker. The meeting had to be postponed because of and you remember just that day it really hit India with the surge in the coronavirus in his homeland. Our hope is to reschedule. I want to highlight this area of focus during our upcoming year. And during the year, I'll share with you more specific plans as they develop. Last year, I joined the Environmental Sustainability Rotary Action Group. That's a mouthful, but it goes by SRAC, and attended their annual meeting 2 weeks ago with Rotarians from around the world talking about projects they're undertaking. In fact, Lori Sinclair, our former executive director, was on the call and talked about a polyurethane cleanup project her club in Washington is doing. For every 500 pounds they collect, it's recycled into a bench that they give to schools as a buddy bench. I will be contributing speakers' gifts this year to SRAC to help keep this issue before us. And I invite anyone who wants to participate on an environmental task force to contact me. Finally, I want to say something about membership engagement, retention, and recruitment. This is your club, and it's only as good as you are. There is truth. About a third of any organization's members actively participate. We need to do better. I believe past President Iris Brody Lopez used to say something like, we have an unemployment problem that can change by getting a job. We know we can improve our participation because last year with contributions, we improved our the Rotary Foundation from 35% of the club contributing to over 90%. But we want members to be active in their club. Next week, our meeting will be divided between 8 committees describing what they do and inviting you to join them. Even if you're bored by attending a committee meeting, they will describe how you can actively participate as a mentor, as a Zoom host, maybe a club meeting greeter, working with speech contests and contestants, maybe setting up a kayak trip or going on one, or just having a cocktail with the president. I've asked Linda Boessenecker to chair a membership engagement and retention committee to help us find ways so all of our members can be involved with the club. I told her, I want people to love Rotary. I want you to be a lifer. All my training this past year and my observation over the years of membership leads me to believe that engagement leads to retention of members. There are good reasons to leave a club, dying. Okay, but I sincerely hope members do not leave because you feel like you don't belong. Rotary is big, and there's a place for you for networking, service, and finding somebody who shares your passion. There are Rotary action groups in all of the areas of focus. Do you know there's a Rotary International Fellowship of people around the world who are passionate about and organized around beards and mustaches? There's a group organized around badminton, Esperanto, singles, metalhead, and 85 other interest groups are waiting to meet you if you reach out. My charge to committees is to provide lots of opportunities for engagement. Fill up your calendar. If only 3 or 5 people show up, that's fine. You now have an affinity group. Get that group to join a district or RI fellowship. I think Arlo Guthrie said that 3 people singing a bar at Alice's restaurant is an organization. 50 is a movement. The biggest threat to our club is a drop in membership. We have the financial strength to get through this period coming out of the pandemic, but we must increase our membership to remain a large club. When we were doing personal interviews on the strategic plan, people mentioned when they joined, there were 400 members in the club. Then we dipped to 325 and 350. In the past 2 years, now we're down to about 270. We are now back and can rewrite our story. It is my goal, if anything in my legacy, to have a very active membership recruitment committee that helps our members find ways to invite new members to the club. I want to finish my year with over 300 members and on the way back to 400. And we will be diverse. All members will be welcome and feel they belong here. This is a big challenge. So I've offered a description. So today I've offered a description of details about coming back in a safe environment. I've reminded us that we're part of a larger organization. And finally, I invited everybody in this club to become more engaged as we come out of the pandemic. Please join a committee, come to work on a Saturday morning service project, attend an A's game and tailgate party, and come to a club meeting. And of course, invite somebody you believe that can be a Rotarian to come with you. This is a year we build the infrastructure for the future. Seth helped us begin with a strong financial base, but we must do our part as club members for the future. Our club builds roads and bridges and the networking to make Oakland strong and the world peaceful. Service above self. Do good. It's our job to serve to change lives. And maybe the life you change will be your own. Thank you.
Hear, hear. Well done, Dudley. Hear, hear.
Linda, so much for helping me with the program, giving her address, Anna Marie Jones. Keith, would you come up here very quick and tell us about next week?
Thank you. As we just mentioned, so next week, please do not miss next week's meeting. It is about membership engagement. And also, we are going to be broadening out and reaching out to the larger group of folks. So this is something that a great challenge. And I know that we've got folks here that will help us participate and reach that goal. And another opportunity is tonight at 5:30 at the Kingston 11 Restaurants on Telegraph Grant. The first in-person cocktails for the president.
Don't take anything.
So anyway, please see you at 5:30 and congratulations. And I didn't
Thank you all for coming to this inauguration. It's been so much fun for me. I hope a little bit for you. This meeting of the Rotary Club